Hi everyone, I'm Stu.
I'm Sarah, and welcome back to the 350 Bird Challenge.
In this video, we're continuing our Arizona trip visiting Patagonia. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Arizona. Where are we starting this morning, Sarah?
We're at the Paton Center for Hummingbirds.
If we're talking a little quietly, it's because we're starting off near hummingbird feeders, hoping to find a couple more species maybe. If you are interested in seeing lots of birds, I encourage you to watch the rest of this series. We're not going to repeat the same birds over and over. Go back, watch previous videos, but I can tell you there's a ton of stuff here. Loads of lark sparrows, Gila woodpecker, even our old friend the northern cardinal. We headed straight for the hummingbird feeders, and we'll show you that in a second, but first let's just quickly look at how we've travelled west from the Hereford area of Sierra Vista in our last video, about an hour's drive to the famous Paton Center for Hummingbirds, itself just outside the quaint little town of Patagonia. We'll visit a couple of nearby spots later on in this video. For now, let's check out the hummingbird feeders. They're located around this sun-covered seating area. Lovely views of a broad-billed hummingbird. Even in slow motion, you can see this bird's chest rapidly moving, so fast is their metabolism. And I'm not sure we'll ever get closer looks at one than this. Well, at the hummingbird feeder we got good views of violet-crowned and stunning views of a bird we've already seen, costas, so let's take a look at both of those. Here's the rather cool-looking violet-crowned hummingbird, and you can see why it has that name. It has that brilliantly shining violet crown, along with bright white underparts, bright orange bill, with some black, kind of like the broad-billed, except this one, it's just the tip that's black, like it was dipped in ink instead of nectar. This is a great bird for us to find because it doesn't typically get much further north than around here. Only a very few rare sightings can be seen further afield. And here's the Costa's hummingbird putting on a fine display. That vivid purple gorget catches the light perfectly, flaring out like a tiny little hummingbird beard. It's one of the most dazzling examples of iridescence among all of North America's hummingbirds. Impossible to miss when the angle is just right. A few customers at the hummingbird feeders today, but we heard talk of another bird we wanted to see. And we've now heard word of a hermit warbler, so we're trying to track that down. Some other birders said they saw the hermit warbler around these small water features, so let's see if we can find it. We spent a few minutes circling a tiny grass area and around the pond, eventually getting a quick enough shot to count hermit warbler. Later, we watched this quite shy and elusive warbler consider maybe taking a bath beside this mini waterfall. With some perseverance, we were able to catch it on camera taking a quick bath, but you can see how nervous it seems. Hermit warblers are another warbler species with a tendency to spend time high up in the canopy, so it's cool to get more intimate, albeit slightly distant shots. Let's briefly talk about some other highlights, including this summer tanager enjoying the suet on offer. And we know this guy from Ontario, a northern cardinal, helping us to cover all of the red birds. In amongst these reeds is a widespread song sparrow, but look carefully and you'll see there's a fledgling in there being fed. Now it's the western tanager's turn to have a bath and spray water everywhere. Paton Center for Hummingbirds comes with the Stu and Sarah seal of approval, right?
Absolutely. Really nice place, lots of nice varied habitat, and of course the feeders.
Tons of birds, and a couple of new ones for us. We're going to move on to another stop now, stay tuned. We drove through the small town of Patagonia towards the legendary Patagonia picnic table. But first, we checked the streets for reports of a resident Mississippi kite, which is regularly reported in the area. But we only saw turkey vultures on the raptor front. And a family of collared peccaries passing through, known by their Spanish name javelinas around here. They may resemble wild pigs, but they belong to a completely different family. It's a classic case of convergent evolution. Two separate lineages, pigs and peccaries, adapting to similar roles in the environment and arriving at a remarkably similar look. Now, here's that almost mythic Patagonia picnic table I mentioned. Okay, Sarah, where are we?
We are at the Patagonia picnic bench.
You want to tell the viewers a bit about this?
So, kind of a birding urban legend. Many of you may already know it. Some people stopped, presumably at this bench, but who knows if it's the same one, just to have some lunch while they were traveling, and they ended up seeing rare birds. So it started the Patagonia picnic bench theory. So the Patagonia picnic table effect is a theory in birding that once a rare bird is discovered someplace, more birders will descend upon it, discovering more rare birds, and it becomes a hot spot, even though technically the spot itself is nothing special, nothing spectacular compared to the area around it. So hence this little rest stop area suddenly becoming a hot spot.
So through the history of this location, 229 different species have been recorded on eBird by various birders. We're already hearing yellow-rumped warblers, yellow warbler, Lucy's warbler, we think, and Zabel's vireo consistently singing, Swainson's thrush. We've only been here for like 2 minutes. Hummingbirds flying through too. I don't think we're going to find any new species here, but we did have to pay a visit. Oh well, time for a new stop. Okay guys, we have moved on to Patagonia Lake State Park. We're going to have a look around the trail first. There's a few different picnic tables along the way. We think there might be feeders at some, or maybe all of them. Let's take a look. I have to say though, we're doing very well for birds on this trip in general. We don't have a ton of targets left. What do we have, Sarah? Ground dove, red-faced warbler, which might be later in the trip at altitude. Can't think right now. But we don't have much left. We're doing really well. We think we're well over 100 new species for the year, and maybe around 100 of those are ones that don't necessarily cross over with Ontario, so we're not eating into too much of what we might see later in the year. The vermilion flycatcher was becoming a familiar sight by now, but hey, it was one of the birds we were excited to see when we first set off on our trip to Arizona. What family is the Phenopepla in, Sarah?
The silky flycatchers.
And it's the only silky flycatcher member of that family that you can find north of Mexico. An intimate shot of this Phenopepla on the nest. Okay, Sarah, how many of these birds are we gonna see? We've now moved on from near the town of Patagonia, about 20 minutes southwest, to Patagonia Lake State Park. Down at ground level, we're currently walking the Sonita Creek Trail, a popular birding trail overlooked by the scrubby desert hills of southern Arizona. Quite a few coots out on the water, and northern ruffed-winged swallows dove, darted and dashed over the surface. Oh look, another Wilson's warbler. Well, apologies for showing you yet another Wilson's warbler, but it is by far and away the most prevalent warbler species that we have seen on this trip. Good reason for that though, they're migrating through at the moment. We've heard from a few people, and it's reflected in comments on eBird reports too, that they are on a northward migration right now, and there's been a big fallout in the last few days. Beyond the lake, a short stretch of wooded shelter from the sun, before emerging into a meadow. Here, we saw half a dozen western kingbirds on the meadow edges. Up here is a female vermilion flycatcher settling down onto her nest. Down by this small creek we repeatedly heard a rufous-capped warbler, but it wouldn't show, a frustrating miss for us because we're right at the tip of its range. The trail loops back towards the meadow. Thanks to this Cooper's hawk though, it was quiet compared to when we came through the first time.
Okay everyone, we've just had lunch and I think we're finished at Patagonia Lake State Park now.
By the way, on day-long birding trips like this, our lunch usually consists of a sandwich or snacks picked up from a grocery store, along with something to drink, and we keep everything fresh in a kung bag that we fill with the ice machine at our hotel early in the morning. Today we got to sit beside the lake while we ate.
Anyway, in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break here, and I think we're going to return to the Paton Center for hummingbirds just to see if we can pick anything else up. We have heard a few other sightings from other people, so back in a sec, stay tuned.
We decided to return to the Paton Center for hummingbirds, partly just because it's a nice spot, but also because a grey hawk had been reported nearby. I was probably becoming a bit fixated on finding a grey hawk, but it is a species on my top 10 Arizona bird list. But first we had another quick tour of the Paton Center. A few cool birds that we've already seen during our quite long now Arizona trip. Here's a Gamble's quail chick. Coming into this vacation, we'd struggled to find chat before, but now we keep seeing them closer and closer. This one is snacking on ants. And finally, an almost clear shot of a McGilvery's warbler. After a brief tour of the feeders for a second time, we went for a walk along a trail. Further downstream of Sonita Creek is Patagonia Sonita Creek Preserve, but it is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Today being Tuesday, we decided instead to hike and look over the valley. This grey hawk's going to be the death of us. Afterwards, there's a trail behind Paton Center to check. It leads down to the creek. While we keep looking for this grey hawk, let's just quickly take care of some admin. Back near Portal, a couple of episodes back, we accidentally counted Willet for the second time, so unfortunately we have to roll the counter back, taking off one bird. In that same episode, I proudly declared this bird to be a lifer Mexican jay. Well, it turns out that faint white line above the eye makes it a Woodhouse's scrub jay. Although I didn't get video, thankfully I got this photo of an actual Mexican jay at the exact same spot in Portal, so at least we get to keep this one. Meanwhile, back at Sonita Creek behind the Paton Center, just a Virginia's warbler on the edge of the water. Well, I think we have to give up the chase for the grey hawk once again, but all is not lost. We'll have future opportunities to find it. Hopefully it's a bird on my top 10, so I'd really like to find it. I think that does us for Patagonia. Where are we going next, Sarah?
Next we are going to Madeira Canyon.
Stay tuned to the channel for that video. In the meantime, please like this video. Please also leave us a comment, and also Sarah,
If you haven't already, please subscribe, and after subscribing, select the bell for notifications of new videos.
time for us to get back to the hotel. Thanks for watching this video. Happy birding and see you again soon.
Bye.